So, ¿por qué, por qué, por qué? Why? Why take the name El Catorce Victoriano Ramirez Sandinista? Weren't the Sandinistas the bad guys? Well, they helped the FMLN, which were Catholics trying to defend themselves, and that's who the Cristeros were. And I believe that everyone should know the name of Victoriano Ramirez and what he did, and everybody should know who the Cristeros were, whether you were Mexican or not, whether you are North American or not, whether you were Latino or not. And it begins with this, all right, and the hatred of this, the hatred towards it. Here's the prayer to the immigrant, right? You know, and it's great. And I believe everybody should know about what happened at the massacre at Masote, as well as the massacre of the 4 nuns and American aid worker in El Salvador in 1980. That 5 of the 6 men were trained at the School of the Americas in Fort Benning, Georgia, by the United States Delta Force. And the horrors that the Contras unleashed that were ran by the CIA. There was a faction of the Contras that were disenfranchised Sandinistas, but they even despised the Americans. The American CIA-run Contras. But never did the El Salvadorian people nor the Nicaraguan people blame the American people for the horror that was being visited on them, because they didn't know. The Knights of Columbus offered to help out were telling the world of what was happening to the Mexican people and the Catholic people of Mexico under Calles. And Calles, an honorary Ku Klux Klan member, said, because the Knights of Columbus were Italian and they were Roman Catholic, so Italians were non-whites at this time in 1925 or 1927, and they were Catholic, so the Klan was also anti-Catholic. So Presidente Calles told the Klan, because the Knights of Columbus said, we'll raise $1 million for the Cristeros. And Calles replied, I will raise $10 million. I will give $10 million to the Ku Klux Klan. So that was being fought, and the Cristeros fought until Catholicism was tolerated once again, so that 98% of the populace could practice the religion, their tradition, and the tradition of their ancestors once more. But they were betrayed and they were executed by Calles. And it wasn't until 1940 when Camacho became president, a great man, he stood up, and in spite of what the Constitution said, he said, I am a believer. And persecution of the Roman Catholic Church or the Mexican people has not been as fierce or as implemented since then. There was a reform in 1996 of this law, but still to this day, during the festivals of Easter and Christmas, the government still tries to crack down on things like fireworks and still discourages it, which is terrible, that to our southern border they do not have freedom of religion. And people think of Mexico as a Catholic country. Well, it is a Catholic nation. It is not a Catholic government. All right, peace to you. May God save Serbia, Syria, and Ireland, and may God protect and save the Mexican nation and people, but not the country. Peace to all.